Deep beneath the craggy peaks of the Stonefang Mountains, where the winds howl like ancient wolves, lay Kazrimmer, a sprawling dwarven city carved into the living rock. Its halls glimmered with veins of mithril and gold, and its people, proud and enduring, were bound together by the fire of their forges and the strength of their traditions. The dwarves of Kazrimmer were known as the Heartforge clan, for they believed every strike of the hammer was a prayer to the Stonefather, their god of creation. The city's lifeblood was the great forge of Durochthal, an enormous anvil and furnace said to be kindled by the breath of a sleeping volcano. It was here the Heartforge dwarves crafted blades that could split dragon scales, and jewels so perfect they seemed to contain starlight. At the heart of the forge worked Bromri Ironmantle, the keeper of the flame. His beard was silvered with age, and his hands bore the scars of 1,000 works. Bromri was not merely a smith, he was a guardian of tradition. Each evening, when the forges dimmed and the echoes of hammers quieted, he recited the oath of stone. Stone endures, and so do we. The mountain shelters us, and we shelter its heart. Yet in recent months, a deep unease had crept through Kazrimmer. The forge fires flickered unpredictably, as though some unseen force sought to snuff them out. Strange tremors shivered through the mountain, and miners whispered of hearing voices in the deep tunnels, voices not of dwarf nor beast, but something older. The dwarves convened in the Hall of Pillars, a cavernous chamber lined with colossal statues of their ancestors. Bromri addressed the council of elders, his voice grave. "We have mined too greedily," said Elder Bruni Stonebrow. "Perhaps the mountain warns us to turn back." "No," countered young Thrain Emberfist, a talented but hot-headed smith. "The mountain does not warn, it tests. We are dwarves. We dig deeper when others would flee." Bromri stroked his beard thoughtfully. He had seen many challenges in his lifetime, but the tremors unsettled even him. Still, tradition demanded a response. If the mountain stirred, the Heartforge dwarves must seek its truth. They decided to send an expedition into the deep veins, a labyrinth of tunnels that had been abandoned centuries ago after a collapse. Bromri would lead them, alongside Thrain and a handful of seasoned warriors. For 3 days, the party descended, their lanterns flickering against ancient carvings and broken bridges. They found abandoned tools, rusted with age, and veins of ore untouched by any chisel for generations. On the 4th day, they reached a cavern unlike any they had seen before, a vast, circular chamber with a chasm at its center. The walls were marked with runes so old even Bromri could not decipher them. From the chasm came a faint glow and a low, rhythmic pulse, like the heartbeat of the mountain itself. Suddenly, a voice echoed from the depths, deep and resonant. "Who disturbs the Stonefather's slumber?" The dwarves froze. Thrain, ever defiant, stepped forward. "We are the Heartforge clan. We honor the mountain." The glow intensified, and from the chasm rose a colossal figure of living stone, an earth titan, an ancient guardian left by the Stonefather to protect the mountain's secrets. The titan's eyes burned like molten iron. "Your forges have grown proud. You take without gratitude. You awaken what should rest." Bromri knelt, his voice steady. "If we have angered you, mighty guardian, teach us to mend our ways. Let us prove our worth." The titan considered this, then struck the ground with its stone hammer, splitting the floor into 3 paths. "Forge for me a weapon worthy of the Stonefather," it rumbled. "But beware, each path tests a different strength, courage, wisdom, and unity. Fail, and Kazrimmer shall fall." The dwarves split their party to face the trials. Thrain led the path of courage, battling magma serpents and collapsing tunnels. His fiery temper nearly doomed him, but he learned to temper his strength with patience. Elda Runeshaper, a scholar among the dwarves, took the path of wisdom, solving riddles etched in ancient runes. She uncovered forgotten lore about the Titan's creation. Bromri led the path of unity, guiding his group through a maze that only opened when every dwarf struck the stone in harmony with the others. At last, they reunited at the chasm, combining their spoils, a shard of pure mithril, an ember of eternal flame, and a rune of unity. Together, they forged a magnificent warhammer, Stoneheart's Vow. The Titan accepted the weapon, its massive hand surprisingly gentle. "You have remembered what it means to be dwarves," it said. "The mountain gives, but it also guards. Honor its heart, and Kazrimmer shall endure." With that, the Titan descended back into the chasm, the glow fading until only darkness remained. When the party returned to Kazrimmer, the forge fires burned brighter than ever. The dwarves sang songs of their ancestors late into the night, their voices echoing through the mountains. Thrain Emberfist was no longer just a brash smith. He had earned the respect of the elders. Bromri, though weary, felt a deep peace. And so the Heartforge clan thrived once more, their forges echoing with the promise they had renewed, to take from the mountain only with gratitude, and to craft not just with their hands, but with their hearts. Years later, when young dwarves asked why the great forge's flames never faltered again, Bromri Ironmantle would smile and tell them, "The mountain remembers who listens, and the Stonefather's heart still beats beneath our feet." Far beneath Kazrimmer, in the silent dark, the Earth Titan stood watch over the chasm, holding Stoneheart's vow, a reminder that even the strongest stone can be shaped by respect, courage, and unity. Generations passed since the forging of Stoneheart's vow, and Kazrimmer grew into a city of unmatched splendor. Towering halls glittered with gold-veined marble, and the great forge's fires burned hotter than ever. But the dwarves, for all their skill and pride, began to grow complacent. Young miners spoke of venturing deeper, beyond even the deep veins, where rumors spoke of untapped mithril rivers. Among these adventurers was Kara Emberfist, Thrain's granddaughter, a fearless warriorsmith who carried her grandfather's fire in her veins. She argued before the council. "Kazrimmer thrives because we dared the mountain's depth. Shall we now cower while riches lie waiting?" Bromri's successor, Elder Toric Ironmantle, cautioned restraint. Yet a shadow haunted Toric's dreams, whispers of stone cracking, and a distant, rhythmic pounding that felt like a warning. Despite his unease, Kara gathered a band of explorers and descended into the Black Hollows, an abandoned network of shafts untouched since the Titan's awakening. The expedition uncovered a vein of pure mithril unlike any seen before, its glow pulsing faintly, as though alive. But beneath it they found something far darker, a shattered seal, ancient and broken, bearing runes of warning. Kara knelt beside it, tracing the symbols. "This was no natural barrier," she whispered. "Something was bound here." As they dug deeper, the ground trembled violently. A wave of cold air swept through the tunnels, extinguishing their torches. And then came a sound, soft at first, like stone grinding on stone, but growing into a roar. "Freed at last!" The mountain groaned as a massive fissure split the cavern floor. From the darkness rose a monstrous being of obsidian and shadow, Drogric the Veinbreaker, an exiled elemental who had once challenged the Stonefather himself. The dwarves fled to warn the city, but Drogric moved faster, traveling through the very bedrock. Earthquakes rattled Kazrimmer, collapsing mines and shaking great pillars. Fires sputtered in the great forge, and for the first time in centuries, the Heartforge dwarves knew fear. Elder Toric summoned the council. "The Titan warned us once," he said grimly. "But this foe is no guardian, it is destruction incarnate." Kara, guilt-ridden but unbowed, spoke. "Then let me atone. I will return to the deep veins and seek the Titan's counsel." Toric placed Stoneheart's vow in her hands. "Take the hammer. The mountain may yet hear you." Kara led a small company, runeshaper scholars, battle-hardened warriors, and even her childhood friend Doran Coppervein, a gifted runesmith, back into the depths. Drogric's trail was unmistakable. Shattered tunnels, melted rock, and strange black crystal growths that pulsed with malevolent energy. At the chasm where they once forged Stoneheart's vow, Kara struck the stone thrice. Her voice rang out, "Stonefather's guardian, hear us! The mountain is dying." For a moment there was only silence. Then, from the depths, the Titan rose again, its body now cracked and dimmed, as though Drogrik's freedom had weakened it. The Veinebreaker was sealed for a reason, the Titan rumbled. To defeat him, you must mend what was broken, not only the seal, but the balance between taking and giving. The Titan revealed a hidden forge, the Anvil of Echoes, a place where stone and spirit could be bound as one. To wield a weapon capable of defeating Drogrik, the dwarves had to combine three forces. Mithril of the living vein, torn from the mountain itself. Flame of the great forge, the fire that had forged their greatest works. A sacrifice freely given, something of immense personal worth. The company returned to Kazrimir under siege, gathering the elements. Kara offered her own ancestral crest, the Emberfist sigil, a symbol of her family's honor, as the sacrifice. The forge flared brighter than ever, shaping the hammer of balance, its head etched with runes of unity and humility.